Thanks so much for joining in. We are going to start our presentation. Now I'm going to share my screen with you. Those who are regulars there would know that when we start these sessions, we first do a quick recap for the sake of our new people who are joining us for the first time, who don't even know what Seed Delta is about, and they would like to know about the program. So I'm going to start with that quick recap. Taking you through what are the expectations and how can you go about signing up in the platform, and then we will move on to our topic today. Right, this topic is extracted from Module 2, which is one of our modules in this course, and the name of the module is called Mobilizing Resources. This stage, if you do have a question, right? In fact, I would love that. Right, so let's look at today's agenda, which is an introduction, a quick introduction, as well as a recap on what Seed Delta is all about. Then once again, we will look at the course modules, the module content, and then we will delve into the purpose of today's module. Also looking at the structure of the module, searching strategies. So that is the core of today's session, where we share with you searching strategies that you could actually use when you are searching for information. And we share with you tips for surfing the web. And finally, we would challenge you with the task, perhaps before we even challenge you with the task of critically evaluating online resources, we will take you through the process on how you can actually evaluate information online. Right, and we will share the next steps, that what's next after I have attended this session. Right, about Seed Delta, again, Seed Delta, it's a course which has 7 modules, as you can see in our presentation, and it has two It has 2 categories. The first category is that of digital education, and the second one is that of digital education leadership, because the goals of the Seed Delta is to produce digital education leaders. Right, so these 7 modules are taken by practitioners like yourself, a teacher or an e-learning person, or an official, an education official, or if you are involved in curriculum development, any education practitioner can actually take in these modules. Whereas module 1 to 3, those are the modules targeted for learners, right? So learners, our students, they can also take part in this Seed Delta by learning or studying the first 3 modules. Right, so in terms of how the content is structured, it's an introduction to unit content. We look at the unit outcomes, and you are introduced to new technology, and there are learning activities. And then at the end of each summary, at the end of each unit, there is a summary, and there are also just short assessment activities. Right. Then there are also various resources which are relevant to that particular modules, which are additional resources other than the ones that are shared, which are shared in between the units content. Right. What is fantastic about this this approach or this course is that you choose what you want to study, you set yourself goals, when do you want to complete. However, we do have a very tight a very tight time frame for you to complete these modules. For example, by mid-June, we would like you to have completed the modules. Remember, you can take in the pre-test as well as the post-test. So at any stage, you can attend the post-test and see how it goes. Right, one would ask, okay, how long is this course? The course will take, it's about, would require 16 to 20 hours of your time. So we're looking at, depending on how much time do you spend per day or per week. So basically, it's you would need 20 hours to complete. That's just in average. There are people who have completed the course in a shorter space of time than 20 hours. Right. Good news is that we do have offline modules. You can take a screenshot of this slide for you to access the offline modules. The course is online. However, if you have internet connectivity or data issues, you can easily access the modules offline. Right. And what is in it for me? One would ask, okay, what do I benefit from this? For students, they take module 1 to 3. Obviously, they would also obtain a certificate. And for teachers and practitioners, you take on all the 7 modules. You are required to complete both the pre-test as well as the post-test, and you earn yourself a whooping 35 continuous professional teacher development SAYS and those points. So what you do is that what you write the pre-test, you would get a certificate. You will only get a certificate if you have obtained 40%. We'd like you to share your certificate with us at zodumo@schoolnet.org.za. Share those certificates with Zodumo. And then as soon as you also complete your post-test, you also share your post-test certificate with us. And as soon as we receive your post-test, we will then send you your SAYS and your certificate. However, as soon as you pass your post-test, which again you are expected to obtain 50% for you to pass, and you obtain the C Delta International Recognized Certificate, immediately that one you immediately receive it and you're able to print your certificate. Right. Now, let's come now to today's module, which is module 4, mobilizing resources. Now, you will find that you will see as you study the modules that they are interconnected in some way. For example, mobilizing resources, you will also find as well under module 4, which is enhancing access. So the purpose of this module is to ensure that you find digital resources you need, and also to encourage you to create as well as share your own digital resources with the public. You can share them online, or you can share them in your professional learning communities. We spoke about professional learning communities last week, so you can start sharing the resources that you create. In fact, not only the resources that you create, perhaps you find a very useful resource that you think it will benefit your colleagues, then you can share that resource or those resources. Right. Now I'm going to I'm going to exit this presentation and then move to today's one that I will be using for mobilizing resources. But while I do so, I just want to check with you if there is anyone who has a question, and this is time for you to ask a question regarding the registration process, regarding studying the course, the ones, just the information that I've just shared with you. Right. So let's look at what do we hope to achieve today. That is to improve your personal online search strategies, that will also save you data. and time, not only data. We'll also look at analyzing and assess online resources, because we understand that with everyone who with all of us having access on anything that we want to upload online, it doesn't mean that the internet is safe. It doesn't mean that everything that one Google is accurate. Understand permissible use of online resources and use them responsibly, as well as to demonstrate an awareness about equity and equity of access to resources. That is covered in the module 4. We may perhaps not be able to cover it in this session. And finally, the benefits and challenges of using open education resources, which I doubt we will be able to cover in this session because of time, but we are highlighting it as content which you have access to when you study module 4, right? Now, let's have a look at these 5 competencies by Open University, which are competencies for digital literacy. Actually, it's a digital framework. It's a digital literacy framework. So these competencies, they are looking at understand and engage in digital practices, which is important for you as as a future digital education leader, finding information, critically evaluating information, which includes online interactions and online tools, as well as manage and communicate information, obviously online, as well as collaborate and share digital content. For full view on this digital framework by Open University, you can visit their website. What you can do is to take a screenshot of this slide for you to access these websites. In fact, I'm just summarizing this. They are, when you visit the website, you would see that they unpack each competency with different levels. Right, so let's now dive into access as well as online resources. Right, actually the summary of this module is finding the wrong information is just as easy as find the right information. That is so true. Do you agree with that? Let's check with you. Do you agree with that? Finding the wrong information is just as easy as finding the right information. Do you agree with that? Okay, I would assume that silence means yes. Right, so the same principle applies when we look at the resources that are available online. So it's very easy to find resources online, but to find a resource that is right for you and relevant to your context, it's not that easy. It may consume a lot of time and you may find it challenging, whereby you are presented with millions of resources and you're not sure which one are appropriate, which one are best to use for your needs. Right, so let's dive into a quick activity which is which falls under accessing online resources. We know that, each time when we want to find information or find resources that we want to use in our context, we consult Google, isn't it? Yes, we do. So let's participate in this activity. It's a very simple, quick, and easy activity. I'd like us to plug into to our internet web browser, and then we search for technology for the classroom. So in your search in your search, type in technology for the classroom, and I would like you to share with us what do you see as you do so. I'm giving you time to do so. You're searching for technology for the classroom. All right, so I'm going to move on to my next slide. This is what popped up when I typed in technology for the classroom. Is it the same as yours? Hmm? Now, when we look at our top left screenshot, it's quite interesting to see that there are about 278 million results. This is what we're talking about. So if you have so much information about technology for classroom, where do you start? Searching for what you're looking for, or the most relevant resource that you're looking for? Now let's move further down. You can see that there is active learning classroom. There is introducing school in a box, respect workshop for educators. And what do you notice about these results? Right at the top, these are adverts. And I remember one time I had a workshop, and I was asking participants to search for certain information, and I recall very well whereby one of the participants went to the very first result that appeared. I know that that's a case with most internet users, where they assume that the top results are the ones that are trusted, are the ones that are the best. How true is that? Look at my one, it's adverts. And if you go to that link, it will again take you to a whole lot of resources which are under that particular advert. Right. Then we move on to the next screenshot, where now we are refining our search. It's not technology for the classroom. Now we are using technology in the classroom. Look at that. With the change of, instead of for, we use in, and then the results are different. So what we're trying to communicate here is that the manner in which you search for information is important. So you need a skill to search for information, to easily find information, not only easily find information, to save time, and also to find good quality information that you are looking for and that is relevant to your needs. Right. Now, when you search for information, it's either, perhaps let me go to this one. I will move back to that other slide. When you search for information, you use different strategies or techniques. The most obvious one is a broad search, where you are using a keyword. Others, they use a question, especially our students. You're familiar with that if you're asking them to do a research, they would type the question as you have given them, which is a broad keyword search, and they would get all sorts of information. And then we have to the point strategy. So the point strategy, that is when, like we from like the example that I've shown you, where you replace a for with in, that is to the point. That is when you then eliminate other words, which narrowing your search, which assist you in narrowing your search and getting specific results. Another method is that you can use a known address strategy. For example, if you know the address of that particular information or resources you're looking for, then you can simply type in the address. And then you can use a hub and poke strategy, which is really great, especially if you know the address as well. But again, you can, for example, I'm thinking of websites like Wikipedia. You can use your hub and poke strategy to search for information. Now, what is important to consider or to think about when you are using these various techniques is that you need to understand, or you need to know, what type of information are you looking for? That is a category. That is very important. Are you looking for a video? Are you looking for a PDF? Are you looking for a PowerPoint presentation? Are you looking for a magazine? Are you looking for a news article? So you need to know what type of information you are looking for. That will help you to narrow down your search. Right. And then why you want the information? What is the purpose of the information that you're looking for? That will help you with critically evaluating the information, because remember, we are emphasizing in this presentation that it's not everything on the net that is accurate and that of good quality. So you need to understand what is the purpose, and what is the purpose of the person who have published the information that you are searching for. Right. And you may also want to think about the best place to go to find the category of information you're looking for. That is when you are at I would say at an advanced level, where you already have a pool of resources, as well as a pool of URLs that serves as your toolkit in terms of different resources. Then you are able to know where is the best place to find a particular information. For example, if you're looking for a video, you will know that you can just go straight to YouTube to search for the video you are looking for. Right. Now, so these are the searching strategies that you may want to consider, or you may want to explore when you are searching for information, or when you are searching for resources. Now, let's go back to the URL. Let's say you do have a URL or website address that you know where to find the information. I think this is a useful information to understand and to know as general information. What can you tell from the URL? That's also form part of evaluating the resources, because when you're looking at the URL, you can tell whether the information that you will find in that URL possibly it has authentic information, it has good quality information, by understanding the breakdown of that URL. So let's look at this one. We have this URL from Wikipedia, which is a list of South African musicians in Ndlovu Youth Choir. Maybe some of you, you've heard of this popular Ndlovu Youth Choir. If we were in a face-to-face session, I was going to play a video of these amazing young kids. Right, so let's look at this URL. Let's try to break it down. So we have our HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. That is the type of information being transferred. And maybe some of you already know that we do have an HTTP. We also have HTTPS. What is the difference between the HTTP as well as the HTTPS? Anyone would like to share with us their understanding of HTTP and HTTPS? Anyone? Ishmael, I know you are here. I saw you. Do you want to give it a shot? Hmm? Has Ishmael left? Who else do we have here?
I'm here, but I don't know what to say about the difference. I know, yes, they differ, but currently I'm still trying to think about the difference at the current moment.
Right. Thanks for responding, Ishmael. Is there anyone who'd like to give it a go? It's what you think, huh? HTTPS, or let me ask it this way: which URL would you trust? The one that begins with HTTPS or the one that begins with HTTP? Which one would you trust? Yes. I thought
ul.ac.za.
Which one would you trust?
ul.ac.za.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Yes, you would trust that one, but we're looking at HTTPS and HTTP. We haven't moved to the domain. HTTP versus HTTPS. Which one would you trust? Anyone else?
I will trust the HTTPS.
Good one. Why would you go with HTTPS?
From what I'm seeing now, it seems like it's more secure than the HTTPS. Sorry about the HTTP.
You nailed it exactly. As it means secure, so you can trust HTTPS versus HTTP. Not necessarily to say that all HTTPs are untrustworthy, but you need to do your evaluation to ensure that it is safe and the information is trustworthy as well, right? So we have the HTTP. Then when you look at our URL, it's followed by en, which is the website name. So HTTPS is followed by the website name or the host name, right? In other cases, it would be followed by a www dot then en, which is the website name, like your www dot schoolnet, for example. So schoolnet is the website name or it's the host name. And then when we'll find that with other URLs, there is a second level domain name, which in this case it's Wikipedia. So it's en, which is the host name, and then we have the second level domain name in this case, which is Wikipedia. Then we have the top level domain name, which is org, which stands for org. And those are the type of websites that one could trust, but not 100%, because anyone can establish an organization, and you may find that the information that is published in that organization perhaps it consists of biased information. It's not yeah, it's bias depending on what they want to promote, because organizations as well can promote what their missions and as well as their products, right? And then we look at a wiki, which is the root directory of the website. For example, if I'm searching for something at schoolnet, which is at www.schoolnet.org.za, then I would have a slash. A slash would take me directly to that particular information that I am looking for. Like in this case, we have a wiki as well as list of South African musicians. Whereas if we remove wiki, list of South African musicians, and just type in en.wikipedia.org, it will take us to a whole vast of information, and we need to use our poke strategy to find what we are looking for. Right, and we also have index, which is the file name, and lastly, the HTML, which is the hypertext markup language. Those are more advanced categories, which are really important, especially for those people who are website developers or who are IT experts, right? So that is what you can tell from the URL. It's important that we have this general basic information about the URL, right? And then we move on to an activity. Before we move on to an activity, I'd like to introduce you to this to this resource, which is a resource guide for evaluating resources. So you can actually use this resource for yourself, and you can share it with your colleagues. And if you are a classroom teacher, it's a must to share it with your students, because they need this kind of information in preparation for their their tertiary education. In fact, even at a basic education level, it is important when it comes to referencing as well as validating the accuracy of information, um, or the the accuracy of information, or the authenticity of information, or the quality of information that is published. Not only information, but also resources. Today we are looking at resources, so that they don't just use any resource that is out there, right? So let's have a quick look at this guide. And this is what you use when you are evaluating your resources. You see what we are doing here. We are not saying here is a list of resources for you to use perhaps for assessment. These are the resources that you can use when you are teaching, or these are the resources that you can use to engage the learners. These are the, and so forth. What we're trying to do here is that we are teaching you to fish. We are not giving you a fish, right? So this is important to learn. How do I evaluate? I don't use anything that is out there, but I need to go through the process of critically evaluating a resource before I use it. Now we look at authority. Now, in terms of authority, we look at who is the author of this resource or this information. What is their point of view? Not only what is their point of view, also what credentials do they possess for them to create such a resource. That is important. You can think of other questions to ask under authority in terms of the author, right? And then we look at the purpose. Why was the source created? Who is the intended audience? Now, in terms of the purpose, it's very important to understand who is the targeted audience for that particular resource. Yes, of course, you'll find that other resources, they are multi-purpose resources. You can use it for different audiences. However, you may find that there are resources which are specifically targeted for a specific audience. So you need to understand that before you use the resource. Why do you need to understand that? It's important for you so that you are able to customize the resource and make it relevant to suit your own audience, right? And then we look at the publication and format. Where was it published? In what medium? Also, in terms of where it was published, that's very important because you find that other resources, they are not local resources, and the terminology that is used in those resources are not they are not relevant to our own context as South Africans. And perhaps I would make an example where in other countries, with us in our education system, we refer to grades like the young ones. We have our grade 0, and in other countries they have kindergarten. There's quite a number of referencing that they use which is relevant to their context. So you need to understand that so that you are able to customize the resource and make it suitable and relevant to your needs, especially your audience. And then we look at the relevance. How is it relevant to your research? What is its scope? Is it at the level of your audience, or it's beyond their level? Perhaps if it's really a good resource, this is all about customizing, making it relevant to you, or perhaps look for something else which is a perfect fit for your needs as well as your audience. Date of publication, that's very important. When was it written? Has it been updated? Are they doing continuous updates, or it's outdated information? For example, you know that there's quite a lot of changes that are taking place in different faculties, in different departments, in our country, in terms of the roads. For example, if it's a geography resource and you find that the map is referencing to the roads which are non-existent, they are outdated. So you need to understand, when was it written and has it been updated? That is very important, right? And then in terms of documentation, did they cite their sources? Who did they cite? And in terms of citing their sources, the sources that are cited, do they look credible? Not only do they look credible, but it is your task, it is my task to test them, to verify those sources. You'll find that when you want to use a resource and you look at the sources and you say, oh yeah, here are the sources that they have used, it must be credible. However, when you check and verify, perhaps by clicking on those or by searching for those sources, you'll find that some of those sources, they don't exist. Some of them, the links are broken, they are no longer in use. So you need to raise your eyebrows when it comes to that. I think I have given you a summary of how you can actually evaluate resources before using them. For more info, in fact, this is nicely unpacked in that URL. This is the URL. Where if you want to read more and understand more, especially if it's a subject or a topic that you'd like to teach in your classroom, of which I do recommend for it. This is a cross curriculum. Any teacher can slot in this kind of information. It is important. Right. Then we move on to the actual activity, of which this is the kind of activity that you can administer to your students if you are a teacher, or you can share with, if you are not a teacher or you are a subject advisor or e-learning person, you can share these kind of resources with your teachers to try these kind of activities in their classroom. For example, you're teaching as a you're going to administer an assignment, and part of the process you would want to start here, teaching your students a skill on how to evaluate resources, or to evaluate not only a resource. This is applicable to evaluating a website or evaluating the information that you are researching. Right, so this is the activity for you to test your knowledge after the session, or anytime when you find time to look at the website. Then at the end, you then come to a conclusion whether it's a worthwhile resource to use and share. Remember, we spoke about sharing resources. So before you share resources, it's important to evaluate. You know, it's very embarrassing where you share resources and you find that the resources that you are sharing with your community or your professional learning community, it's not trustworthy information, or maybe it's biased, or it's not it's inaccurate, and it's quite embarrassing. So do this, go through this process yourself before you share resources with your professional learning communities. Right. So as we close our session today, let's have a quick debrief, or perhaps a quick discussion on the websites that you have visited, or resources that you have used, or resources that you have researched and you discovered that the information or a resource was inaccurate, or there was it was bias. Yeah, so those kind of experience. I'm now going to allow you to share your experiences, as well as to now, what impact would this media literacy session have in your students if you are a teacher? If you are an e-learning person, what would this media literacy information have when you share it with the teachers that you work with? Perhaps you can share by saying, I remember as a new internet user, I'm sure I'm not the only one who thought, if you've Googled something, it is correct. If you find something in the website, it is correct, until you learn that no, it's that is not true. And you'll find that our students, they still believe that. Right, so I'm going to allow you to share your experiences, as well as to share, what are you thinking in terms of teaching media literacy to our students, or not only to teach, but also understanding the importance of media literacy?
Yes, I do. Yes, definitely think this is actually very important. So, but then there is something actually that I wanted clarity on when it comes to HTTP and HTTPS. As you were busy actually teaching about that, I was also trying to visit most of the websites that I used to visit, and then just to check whether those websites are HTTP or HTTPS. So surprisingly, some of the websites are HTTP, some they're HTTPS. How do I check that? Normally when I go to the website I normally don't start with HTTP. I rather start with www dot the name of the website. So actually wanted to check to say, before you can visit a website, before you can perhaps go for HTTP, let's say you just know the name of the website, like Tovela FM, for instance. So I wanted to check to say, before I can actually visit the website, is there any way that I can know if the website is a HTTP or is the HTTPS?
Good question.
Just before I can visit the website to check.
It's a good question. You know what? When you type in, you don't necessarily need to type HTTP or HTTPS yourself. For example, when you want to register in the Seed Delta platform, you can simply type seeddelta.call.org and then you press enter. The moment you press enter, it will give you a full address with the HTTPS. That's when you know if it's an HTTPS. That also, as that is the case when you don't know whether it's HTTPS or HTTP. However, if you already have the address, it will tell you the address itself will contain the HTTP or HTTPS. In a case where it doesn't, you only have a www. The moment you press enter to say go, after you've typed your www dot, normally it will give the full address with the HTTP. That's when you would see whether it's HTTP or HTTPS. Like I have mentioned earlier on, that it doesn't mean that all the HTTPs, are unsafe or they are not, they are unsecure. But you need to do your own evaluation to ensure that it is a trustworthy website. Now, this looks like a daunting process if you are in a hurry and looking for information. But believe me, as you get used to it, it becomes natural. You don't feel like this is what you're searching for, like step by step, as I was going through, like you're checking the author, but it just happens. Your mind just takes you there and does that for you.
Okay, I think that makes sense.
Do we have any other questions? Right, I just want to close with this last question. Checking from all of us, what are other things to consider when we try to teach media literacy? Or did we leave? Do we have any other suggestions other than what we've shared? Obviously, when you study the module, this is covered extensively, and there are more examples and more content information other than what we've shared. So the purpose of our sessions is to bring to your attention the type of content that you'll find when you study the modules. It's not to cover the whole content. So this is just, it's just we just extracted part of this activity. There's a whole lot more you will find as you study this module. Questions? That's the end of our session today. Please remember our next steps from here. It's that for those who have registered, remember to share with us your pre-test results. Say you wrote the pre-test and you did not get 40%. We would like you to take a screenshot of what you obtained, right? Because for us, it's evidence that you have attempted the pre-test. And also, you are free to retake a pre-test, both pre-test and post-test, as often as you need, until you are happy with your score. Yeah, and for our new participants who joined us for the first time today, please sign up When you register, remember to register as part of an organization. You search for SchoolNet South Africa. Another thing to note when you are registering is that when you formulate your password, it should have 8 characters, with a combination of caps, small letters, number, as well as a symbol. Right, that's the end of our session. Thanks so much for joining in. Please do follow us on our social media, as well as